thus far is that Pantera is going to be one of the headliners for that show. But, of course, that happens out at Mansfield Reformatory. And I imagine we'll have more tickets for you for that closer to that show. But SonicTempleFestival.com is where you're going to see the exhaustive list. And, again, part of the fun of festivals is going to see kind of the baby bands.
Up-and-comers?
Yeah, that you've never heard of before.
Or just a band that's been around forever that has never made it to, like, the top.
Yeah, I wish that I could remember. It was years ago at Sonic Temple, one band that I was unfamiliar with, and they were unbelievable, and I don't even know if they're around anymore, and I wish I could remember their name, because I was like, I'm going to remember these guys, and I'm sure I remembered it for a couple of months.
I bet we could go through was it Rock on the Range or Sonic Temple?
It was Rock on the Range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember which year it was?
No, but I bet,
lineups.
yeah, if I dug, I could probably find it and tell you who that was.
You got homework.
I do have homework. Make myself a note. About 5 minutes, I will have another $1,000 for you. Next keyword coming to go fund yourself, so listen for that.
You're going to go through and be like, it was Judas Priest.
Yeah. It's a little-known band called... I don't know. Yeah. There's something for everybody. And Foo Fighters are basically back on track to do every festival this summer. You'd be hard-pressed to find a festival they're not doing. Because why not? That's the equivalent of dipping your toe back into the, and again, I don't know what kind of set I don't know if they do a full set at Sonic Temple. They might do an hour, right? Because I don't think they have competing headlining stages at Sonic Temple. I think they have one headlining stage.
Yeah.
Lollapalooza has competing headlining stages. But they stagger the genre, so it's never like, do I go see Foo Fighters or Deftones? It's like one end of Grant Park, it's SZA, and the other end of Grant Park, it's Green Day. So you kind of take your pick. Next week on the show, the legendary Steve Vai will join me on Tuesday. He has got a new album out that he has done with a friend of his. It's called Vai Gash, Gash. I think this is a buddy of his. And there's a greater significance to this that we'll talk about when he's on the show. But a longtime Steve Vai fan. He was in David Lee Roth's first solo band back in the day. In the Eat 'em and Smile and Skyscraper days, it was Steve Vai. And, of course, he was, in Frank Zappa's band 100 years ago. And he's just a very, very creative guy. So Steve Vai on Tuesday. As far as things for you to win next week, I'll have Monsters tickets for you. You want to get Coheed and Cambria?
Yeah, got my tickets.
You got them already?
Mm-hmm.
They're playing May 10 at the Agora. Jeff Ross is going to do MGM Northfield Park in April. And then that Nickelback show is in August at Blossom, and I'll have those tickets for you. They're taking country artists out with them this time. So if you're a Nickelback fan, frankly, you don't care who's opening for them. You want to go see The Back. I assume that's what their fans call them. The Back.
That's probably, yeah.
It's probably safe to say, right?
Yeah.
Back.
It's weird that we don't know a Nickelback fan that can confirm.
Right.
Someone that's like deep into Nickelback. A backer.
A backer. Right. Alan, it was Code Orange. No, it wasn't Code Orange. I know them. They're a Pittsburgh band. They were still in high school when they started. I know Code Orange. No, it was somebody else. I'm going to have to dig and find, and it'll be just for me because you don't care who I'm talking about. But I
just can't think
curious,
they're that good if you didn't actually remember their name.
But I'm also curious if they're still around because there are some bands that I dig even in genres I'm not normally in, and then they like go away and I go, okay, and then they come back. And I don't, okay, here's a good example. I'm not an emo guy. I don't like pop punk. I don't like any of that crap, right? It's just not for me. But there was one band I really dug. They were called Armor for Sleep. And I don't know why I liked them. They just hit me the right way. And they dropped a couple, and then they split up. And then I saw they're opening for somebody. So I guess they're back. So Armor for Sleep, if you remember that band, they're back, and they're probably all 40 now, but they're going on the road. I am fascinated by this dude that made the news because he's a rich guy who's spending $2 million a year to try to make himself younger. This is all the rage now, and this is a good snapshot of what de-aging technology is going to be, in that it will only be available to rich people.
Yeah.
Because nobody's got the kind of, as excited as people are about like scientists working hard to turn back the clock and how can we employ all this modern technology to not only retard the aging process, but reverse it. And there's a 45-year-old, very rich tech bro who sold his company to eBay for $800 million a couple of years ago. And he has 30 doctors that he's paying all of them in a variety of areas of expertise. And he's spending about $2 million a year because he says he wants to be in the shape of an 18-year-old. He's 45. So far, the doctors have said, well, you've shaved about 5 years off. So for $2 million, he got 5 years off.
Should have just went to Orange Theory.
Hey, take him out.
Somebody's got to do it. You're not doing it. Right there. Spike it, man. He's setting spike, and you just...
This guy is laser focused on every part of his daily life, his food, his exercise regimen, his supplements.
So he's doing the work too, though.
Yeah, but the results for $2 million, you go, okay.
Well, I was just
if
going
you're
say,
trying to get back to 18 and you're only going back to 40.
but that's the thing, though. Looking young doesn't equal looking fit.
But he put yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Bottom line, it does, yes.
No, it doesn't.
Looking young doesn't mean looking fit. How many fat people look young? And I don't mean because I got a baby
But
face.
when I was 18, 19, I looked young, but I was just because skinny doesn't equal fit. Like that doesn't mean you're fit.
Fitter.
Okay.
And also,
I know what you're talking about, but I'm just saying the way that he put it was very strange. He said his goal is to have the brain, heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, tendons, teeth, skin, hair, bladder, penis, and rectum of an 18-year-old. So those are weird things to focus on. No, by the way, no mention of like his gastrointestinal system. I assume that rectum does not refer to rectum.
Yeah.
Doesn't mention his guts at all. Nothing about his microbiome. He's like, I want to have an 18-year-old rectum. That tells me all I need to know about what this guy's spending $2 million on. So 1,900 vegan calories a day, hour a day of exercise, 3 times a week, sleep at the same time every night. After 2 hours of wearing blue light blocking glasses, he has tests all the time, blood tests, MRIs. He's taken 33,000 images of his bowels. This is what bored rich people do. You sell your company and you go, well, now what the hell do I do? He goes, it may sound extreme, but I'm trying to prove that self-harm and decay are not inevitable. Right, but after 2 million, and again, he looks good, but he looks like Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. That's what the money got him. He looks like he's already had, and I don't know if he's had not plastic surgery, but he looks like he facelift or something. I don't know. He's 45 years old, and he's like, I want to have the full rig of an 18-year-old. And they're like, well, at this point, you've shaved about 5 years off. They said he has the heart of a 37-year-old. That's pretty good. He has the skin of a 28-year-old. That's good. He has the lung capacity and fitness of an 18-year-old. That's all good.
That's all very good.
It's all great. But your return on investment and all the things you've got to do, you read all these articles on serums and facial treatments and retinol and Botox. Bottom line is, the best anti-aging product anyone can use, you know what it is? Sunscreen. Simple as that. Want your skin to look awesome? Sunscreen. All the time. Even if it's not a sunny day, rays are still getting through. So people are spending hundreds of dollars, just regular everyday people like us, not some $2 million a year guy. Regular people buying over-the-counter hyaluronic acid, and I'm going to get my sunscreen. A guy did a song about it 20 years ago. Remember the sunscreen song? Hello, class. Anybody remember that song?
No.
I forget what the song was called, but it was called Wear Sunscreen, was the parenthetical subtitle. Baz Luhrmann, the director, produced a song called Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen. Let me give you this money here. It's $1,000 for you to begin your own journey to have an 18-year-old rectum. It's $1,000 to go fund yourself. Good luck.
The Buzzard wants you to go fund yourself and score $1,000. Enter the nationwide keyword cash at WMMS.com. That's cash. Enter it now at WMMS.com. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 99, wear sunscreen. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. The long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proved by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now. Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. Oh, never mind. You will not understand the power and beauty of your youth until they've faded. But trust me, in 20 years, you look back at photos of yourself and recall in a way you can't grasp now how much possibility lay before you and how fabulous you really looked.
Anyway, this song was a massive hit
I
20
do
years
remember
ago.
it. It wasn't something that I was seeking out.
It was
but
an
yeah.
Australian guy who narrated it, doing an American accent. It was actually, they didn't even write lyrics. This was a column that had been written 2 years prior by a columnist in the Chicago Tribune. This woman named Mary Schmick or something had written a column, and Baz Luhrmann, the director, he's directed Elvis, whatever. Back then, I think he was still doing Romeo and Juliet remakes. But that was like a big, big thing for like 6 months, was that sunscreen song.
What year did that Romeo and Juliet movie come out? Was that 97, 98?
I don't know. That sounds about right. Yeah. October 96.
Yeah, it's 96. Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, this guy is spending millions of dollars in fine-tuning every single part of his life to see if he can get himself to have the body of, he's trying to shave 20 years off, 25 years off. But it's not like you stop aging. Even if you're taking great care of yourself, you are still moving in one direction. But he's front page news today.
I mean, it sounds like he's having some good success and he's taking care of himself. But at some point, too, you got to, like, it doesn't sound like he's enjoying his life at all. Like, just...
No, if you are placing that
good,
much...
But, like, yeah, there's, like, you need some balance with some enjoyable parts of your life. A life that strict is not going to be worth living that long.
I do appreciate I think it's interesting that he's trying to kind of get, and again, this is how like these tech nerds process information. He wants as much data as possible because I'm sure in his mind he figures, well, if I can just manipulate the data properly, then I can will myself or create myself into this thing where that's how all those guys think. That's why Zuckerberg has no interpersonal skills, because people are just data to him. Elon Musk he thinks he's hilarious. No one thinks that because he has no sense of, because people are data to them. There's nothing you can't manipulate if you just have enough data. Well, all right. It's costing this guy a lot of money. He discovered that his eyelashes are shorter than average. Very useful information. He measured the thickness of his carotid artery. Okay. He blasts his pelvic floor with electromagnetic impulses to improve muscle tone. All right.
Fancy boy. Blast that pelvic floor.
Yeah, to
So
repair
let's just do it the old-fashioned way. And I don't care if it ages me.
To repair sun damage to his skin, he applies 7 daily creams, gets weekly acid peels and laser therapy, and he's been staying out of the sun. So if you've seen this guy, again, calling him Patrick Bateman, I think, is an apt description. He looks very smooth. He looks very pale. He wants to improve the hearing in his left ear, which suffered from childhood hunting trips in Utah. You know what that means? His dad was firing a gun right next to his head and telling him not to be a pussy if he complained. He does sound therapy. He has, however, rejected many of the internet's favorite health fads, including resveratrol, ice baths, and high doses of testosterone.
What about urine therapy? You recycle in your urine where you drink it and then you pee it out and you drink it again. Very effective.
Got to distill it down. There you
People
go.
on TikTok.
you got a full Brita picture there of hot pee. I treat athletes and Hollywood celebrities, says one of his doctors, and no one is pushing the envelope as much as Brian. I bet Rock the Dwayne Johnson is.
What's his name again?
His name is Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson. He's 45. He created Braintree Payment Solutions and sold it to eBay for $800 million.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to get his everything, including his penis and rectum, to be 18 years old again. But again, when you are young-ish and rich and bored, this is what happens. This guy could be donating, and maybe he is. Listen, I don't know what else he's doing. I mean, $2 million out of the money he has is nothing. So he could be philanthropic to the nth degree. I don't know anything about that, obviously. He said, my goal is to reduce the aging of all of my organs by 25% in the next 5 years. So again, it's super nerdy. Super nerdy. Geneticists from some pretty reputable universities are saying, listen, this is cool and it's very well-intentioned, but this is just all going to be expensive fluff when all is said and done. But the lengths to which people will go if they get even within striking distance of reversing aging, and there isn't a person among us who wouldn't do the exact same thing if we were close to that.
I don't know, man.
I just don't.
My routine is what it is, but like all the stuff that he's got to go through on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's too much.
It's so much. I would be like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm trying to wear this body out. Like I'm trying to get my, like however long I live, I've had a great time.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Because you're opening yourself up to new problems that people haven't faced yet. Like everyone is eventually going to be old. If you're lucky, if you do everything right, you'll be old. So there's other people that can relate to that. You'll relate to other old people. But older people who are spending expensive surgery to get younger, and then all the, you might get cancer or something. Like there might be another ailment, just a part of life that you're not thinking of, and now you have a body of an 18-year-old and you're not, it's messing with your genes or something. Like you don't know what's going to happen. So he's essentially a guinea pig.
Right,
would you, Poundcake,
look like an old man in young people jeans.
And they're like, what's wrong with that guy?
Always cringe.
would you, if he gave you $1 million, Poundcake, would you give him the penis of a 30-year-old?
As in, I gotta get.
Took you way too long to figure out.
All right, it took me. Yes. All right.
You mean I gotta cut it off?
Can I get the mind of a genius?
Yeah.
Can we swap it so I can get jokes better? I didn't understand. I was like, I'm not giving up my penis. I was like, oh.
And this guy could get hit by a bus tomorrow. So that's what everybody loves to say, right? Anybody who takes care of themselves, you get hit by a bus tomorrow. Yeah, you could, but I'll have a great-looking corpse. Die young, live fast, leave a good-looking corpse. That's the old line. Anyway, the wild story. 18-year-old rectum. Rectum damn near killed him.
He wants a barely legal rectum. I don't understand.
No, that's a fully legal rectum. 18 is fully legal.
You said, but I said barely. It's like, it's my 18th birthday. it's my 18th birthday rectum.
Yeah. Let's blow it out.
Could you imagine
The candles?
Now that
No.
is something you should flag. Not the 24-year-old dating someone who looks like an 8-year-old, someone who wants a barely legal rectum.
Yeah. He's doing a lot of Kegels in there. It's, yeah.
I'm just trying to work this out, you know.
Well, he's doing all those exercises to keep his pelvic floor strong for a reason.
That's right. I've got to take a break. If you want to text 35192 to do that. AlanCoxShow.com to watch, and we'll be back.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7
WMMS.